I'll try and edit it after.
All right, we're live. Today is Thursday, October 31st. Happy Halloween, everybody. This meeting is our bi-weekly check-in on community outreach tasks, or trying to get people to know and spread the love about Backdrop. We have an agenda that contains all of the things we talked about 2 weeks ago that we wanted to do. Of that list, we've done a handful of them, which is great. We have a bunch more of them we haven't done from last week. Those include some social media items like writing tweets and Facebook posts, creating some videos. We have two in particular we wanted to talk about. One of them was related to upgrading a site from Drupal 7, and one of them was just a promotional video for features in Backdrop. We have a newsletter we need to send. We tried to do that this week, but we ran into a little hiccup where we realized that we've gotten all of these new mailing list subscribers, which is fantastic. We're not legally allowed to email them because we didn't collect GDPR consent. And so today we sent out an email asking all of those people to actually consent to us sending them an email. And then based on the results of the email we get today, we'll be able to send out a newsletter on Monday, hopefully to more people. We're also working on, related to that, the way that people signed up on our website. They filled out a form where all they had to put in was their email address. And that's part of the problem. We need to give them that consent checkbox at the moment they sign up. So I've got a version of that sign up form that has a checkbox that, and it's a little tricky because of the way our design works. If I were to put the whole form on there, it would make the footer like ridiculously tall. So I've got it working so that when you click in the email box, it'll slide the consent checkbox down. So it'll be like, thank you for writing your email. By the way, you also have to check this box, which I think will be interesting because if there's any chance we're getting like robot signups on that, this might make it so that we can't email the robots, but we can email the humans, which might be better. And then my plan is MailChimp has started charging us for the account because we now have so many people in the account. But if we have a whole bunch of people who we legally aren't allowed to email, I would like to remove them from our account because then we won't have to pay them $50 a month for the one email we send every quarter or whatever it is. And we are also thinking about moving to Civi CRM. We talked about this before for managing our contacts, and that would include everybody who has signed up for the mailing list right now, but in the future, it could also include people who have signed up on the contact form or people who are attending events, and having some record of who these people are and what they've done could be really useful. And now that MailChimp wants to charge us for this service, I think it sort of gives us more incentive to start working on moving to Civi. So Jack has offered to help us figure out what to do with Civi as people who like think Civi is a good idea, but don't really know technically what we really need out of it or how to make that happen. And so I'm hoping to have a meeting with Palante next week just to kind of figure out high level, like what are we doing? And if anyone is interested in attending that meeting, let me know. We can try and loop you in. I think it's currently set for, oh geez, I can look at my calendar. Let me know and I can figure out when it is and invite more people.
We were meant to have an instance spun up with like a, did that happen? Did that happen already?
I think we had one on the old server, but we didn't do anything with it. So we didn't move it to the new server. But we can do that again. I just thought like before we jump into the technical, like let's build the thing, we should be like, what is the thing we're building? And because I don't really know that much about how Civi works, I wanted, or not necessarily how it works technically, but how it works like philosophically, like what is the goal and what do we want out of it? I thought it would be good just to have a meeting with Jack and talk about it because Palante's done a ton of work with Civi in the past and really helped people achieve things with it. And I thought that might be good for us to talk about first. But yes, I definitely think we need an instance of it.
I think Jack has also volunteered to help do that, just hasn't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, and so is Justin. Justin said he has some experience setting up Civi in the past. So I think once we, you know, it doesn't have to happen in order. Like we could have them start on that now.
I think, Luke, you also said that you're interested in not building it, but being one of the managers. It's good to have more than one people so that we don't have single points of failure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd like to be involved.
Okay, cool.
So I think all of that is really exciting that we're sort of getting moving on it. It's unfortunate that the reason we had to do that was because we had to start paying money, but it's very fortunate that the reason that we had to start paying money is because Tim has done such a good job promoting our newsletter that people are actually signing up. So it's like, I'm happy and we should do more stuff, of course.
When you say more people signed up, how many have we reached now? What was the threshold after which we had to
2,000 people is when you have to start paying. And right now we're only legally allowed to email like 230 of them. So I think, you know, we have to figure out how many of these people actually want the email from this consent form, but I'm hoping at least half of them will, and then we'll get like 1,000 or something. But just the fact that we had more than 1,000 signups since Tim was like, we need to put this form somewhere, I think is really telling. And if we can get that form to actually collect all of the information we need to legally email in the future, I expect that list to continue growing. So that's great. Thank you, Tim, for motivating us to actually put the sign up form somewhere useful.
Yeah. So I have a brief feedback. I actually got the email asking for permission and stuff and filled through it but it occurred to me as I was doing it that it was a little bit of an uphill battle. Like it didn't really say in an initial email what the end goal was. Like, you know, go through these steps and you'll get email. If you don't go through these steps, you won't get email. It said like update preferences, which makes it sound like you've already done something and you might, yeah. So I wouldn't assume that anybody that doesn't fill it out doesn't want to fill it out. They just might have gotten lost in the process.
So I had a thought about that too, because we sent there, like MailChimp has this standard template for like collect consent, and it's not super great. We sent it out once before and I don't think anyone responded to it. I was thinking it might be good to send this out to like anyone who signed up in the last year, like a week before every major newsletter we send. And so we're dropping off our oldest signups every time we send it. So we're like, okay, we're not going to send people, you know, if you haven't received an email from us in a year and a half and you've never expressed interest in it, we're going to like for 2 years or whatever it is, we're going to remove you. But if we keep the like most recent signups, even if they hadn't actually checked the box, then we can send this again. Luke, it would be really useful if we could add you to the list of people who preview the emails. Because if you had told us this yesterday, we could have fixed it, but I didn't have you on that list.
That's fine.
So yeah.
Add me.
Okay, that would be great.
You want me to mail that to you, or do you have
more
that?
feedback from more perspective? I think is always really helpful. So
Yeah.
But we do keep the checkbox in the settings on, like if they log into the actual main site or in the forum, we should have and maybe a less intrusive way to do things, because people might find emails annoying, is that every quarter or every so we just have a pop-up that pops up a single time reminding people, because now we have the redirect, but it's only for new sites. So in b.org, we don't redirect people in the dashboard because they might not have access. We do still redirect them on their actual, profile page, right? Yeah, might be a a good idea to just have a message there saying, hey, for the people that haven't ticked the box, like just as a reminder, hey, perhaps you want to tick the box so you can receive news or whatever.
yeah, and we do have a module on backdropcms.org that is not currently enabled that would allow people to self-sign up for the mailing list through their contact form. But I looked into that this week too, and passing GDPR consent through the API is also a little tricky. So we're going to need to do a little bit of QA on that too, because otherwise we're going to end up in the same situation we are now, where everyone who checks that box on their form won't actually have given us consent to email them. So we've got to do a sort of a two-step thing where it's like, send your email to the Backdrop's mailing list, also provide consent, and then we can send that. But I need to check on the language we have to put in there to make that like legally compliant, so that we don't have to.
I'm interested in what you just said. So you spoke about an API. So do we have to send that information somewhere?
So right now we need to send it. We need to send the person's email address to MailChimp, so that we send the email from MailChimp, it comes out. In the future, if we move this to Civic CRM, it may all be different. I don't know, but we will still have the same legal requirements as we do today. It just might not be managed through MailChimp in the same way it is today. But I think having all, like if we follow all the legal requirements now, like where we send the data later shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, just figuring out how we need to word that checkbox so that it both allows us to collect their email and gives us consent to email them would be. I don't know why emails are so complicated, but they are. I mean, I guess spam is a problem. So
There was an interesting article I read a couple of years ago that was saying both the internet and the emails that they're sort of like planning about for a SMTP or email version 2, same as Internet 2.0. That when they were created, like they weren't designed with security in mind or things like that. We're just happy to communicate over a distance, and they were like, they never thought of spam bots.
same with texting, right? And all the like text bots that are happening now. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So that's the newsletter story. Also includes some website updates. A couple of other things we wanted to do for the website was to put the number of GitHub downloads on the homepage. That's just another block. We'll need to pull that statistic, which I think we can do without a problem because we're already putting it various other places. And then we have this great idea for adding, I think this came from Luke, individual pages for every organization that is in support of Backdrop. So like we go to hosting company and say, hey, do you want to have a page on our site where you can drive all of your traffic who want Backdrop sort of thing? And what kind of information do you want to put on that page? What do you want them to know? Yeah, so I think all of that stuff I think would be great. They can all have single standalone landing pages. I don't want to lose track of this issue. I totally forgot about it between last meeting and this meeting. So I think we should create some kind of a meta issue in the backdropcms.org queue that just includes like, we should contact these organizations and just figuring out like who do we talk to in order to build this page? Like who wants to write the content or who wants to say yes or no, we want the page, we don't want the page, and just kind of getting those lines of communication open. I think some people are actively involved in our community and we'll find them in our Gitter channel, and other people we might have to hunt around, like trying to find the person at Linode who's going to write the copy for this page could be really hard. So maybe their page won't show up for a while. That's totally fine. But I think just getting that underway would be good.
Then I think that we can write something like really generic on their behalf and then allow them, like put something up to thank them and then allow them to edit it and just say, yeah, or something.
Okay. So I was thinking about that too. Like if we, if they have a user account on backdropcms.org, we can set the owner of the page to them and then they'll be able to edit that page. But some of these people don't have user accounts on backdropcms.org. And so for them, it's going to be, again, hard to be like, do you want to have an account and edit it yourself, or do you want to just email us copy? Like, I don't know what the workflow is going to want to be for those people.
Yeah, sure. It's going to be it's going to take a little bit of comms back and forth, but we're going to get it done always. I added the drashcommands.com on that list because they were the ones that had really prominently added us on the corner of the thing. So we should reciprocate.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure what the motivator is for them. Like, I don't know what they'd want to put on that page. Like if they're going to be driving traffic specifically to that page instead of to our homepage, like what do they want out of it?
Yeah.
But never hurts to ask.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. We also had mentioned we've gotten a bunch of really great testimonials recently. We had a testimonial section on the Backdrop site before Backdrop 1.0 came out. And it was a whole bunch of like old comments from people in the Drupal community talking about how Backdrop was going to be good for Drupal or good for people using Drupal or whatever it was. Those are all now like 5 or 6 years out of date. So I think if we re-enable testimonials, we might want to make sure all the old ones get unpublished. But I do think it's a great idea to get them back on. We might need some design help on that in terms of like, where are we going to put them on the site? I would love to see that an issue on backdropcms.org with a label. We could get some designers involved in there. Or if anyone has any ideas who aren't designers, just if you can tell us where to put it, I think that'll help us get there. Let's see. All right. So that was all of the stuff that we still had to do from last week. I thought it might be good to open the conversation up for other things that we might want to be doing to help spread the word about Backdrop. This week in particular is DrupalCon Europe. So I don't know if there's anything we need to be like tweeting about or promoting for people who are there, or if that's even important for us at this point, but that's something to think about. We obviously want to get more information about Backdrop displayed on websites that are not Backdrop's own website. So if anyone has any ideas about places that we could write blog posts that might be relevant, or even better, get other people to write blog posts, or find other people who've already written blog posts and re-promote them, that would be really useful. We talked a little bit last time about how Drupal Corn Camp is coming up. I don't know where, is Tim still here? Oh, yes. Are you doing, you said you're proposed a session there. Have you heard?
Yes, I'm doing a session on my Dancing with the Dragon, what I've learned from the Backdrop community. So I'm doing that one. I'll probably try to schedule a BOF or something.
And then I think in 2 weeks, there's a conference here in Oakland called the Nonprofit Developer Summit that I go to every year. That's really unlike any other conference I've been to before, but it's really amazing. There's no presentations. Every session, every day is a conversation, and you just get one person who's called a facilitator who's there to guide the conversation of everyone else in the group. But there isn't any presenting. It's more like sharing and brainstorming, and it's very focused on how to help nonprofits achieve their goals through technology. And so it's not necessarily focused on websites. Sometimes it's about, you know, SMSing people or what have you. But I find that all of the developers who are at these conferences are usually very interested in using technologies that are in line with their goals and their nonprofits' objectives. And so they tend to be really interested in using open source software, and they've been very supportive of Backdrop as well as being something that's helping their clients or themselves work more efficiently for the organizations they're trying to support. And so sometimes we get to do a demo there, but there isn't ever any like official talks or presentations or times or anything that Backdrop gets promoted. But I really like coming to that. If anyone's in the Bay Area and wants to attend, highly recommend. I think it's like $50 a day or something, but it's a 3-day conference and you can choose what days you want to go to, and the money covers like breakfast and lunch. And then, yeah, everything else is, they've got some pretty good sponsors that cover like, I don't know, everything else that goes on there, which is pretty cool. I mean, you usually get like a free hoodie, so that's fun. So yeah, that's in 2 weeks in Oakland. I don't know if it's on our calendar yet or not, but I'll take a look today and see what information I can dig up about it and put it on there.
It's not on our calendar.
The first event that is listed in the upcoming events block is January 15th for the birthday.
Okay.
So there's a few events happening in Australia as well. So the Drupal South is coming up during the last week of November, but I have filed for a session. It hasn't been approved. I'm inclined to say, of course. But yeah, I'm not sure if I should mention it as an event for the mere fact that I will be there and there will be discussions in the corridors and things like that. Maybe I should.
I think we've been doing that in the past. Like if either Jen or I or Nate have been at a camp, we just sort of mention it because at least have a BOF or something, even if it's just that.
Okay, maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
I mean, I would think as long as you make yourself available to talk about Backdrop, that's the key. Like just saying you're just there hiding in a corner, then there's no point. But I don't think you would do that. So.
People are trying to stop me.
A couple of things that Jen has brought up. First of all, DrupalCon Europe just ended, so we're a little bit late there. I think the idea of like trying to tweet during Drupal events isn't a bad idea. In a way, I was trying. You know, I spent a little time this week trying to think about like what could I say and hashtag it DrupalCon and not feel like I was just being spammy. And so the best I came up with is I did one sort of tweet that was just sort of hi to all our friends at DrupalCon. And it was just a way to sort of like acknowledge DrupalCon was going on from the backdrop account.
Guys,
Wish I could have come up with something better than that.
Yes, Alan?
you know, it's my first time here, and I was just sitting on the Gitter and noticed that you guys are in some kind of meeting, and I jumped in here just out of curiosity. You know, but I really need to go. But before going, I just wanted to say that you know, it's so exciting for me to you know, start participating in the community. I hope I will find more time, you know, to be useful to your team. And for now, you know, I myself and my team, we have too much on our own plate on hosting side, you know, dealing with daily stuff with our customers. But I'll try to participate in this kind of meetings more often in the future. For now, I feel just you know, more of a guest myself, because I'm trying to understand what kind of you know, organizational stuff you are talking about. But no, I'm still not there. I'm not there yet, you know, to be maybe more useful. So I need to go, and well, see you and talk to you in the future meetings.
Thank
Okay?
you for coming.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming.
Thanks for
Yeah.
being so active in the issue, you know, the issue queue.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I more you know, from our team is coming. We would like to port several modules that we you know, uploaded to Drupal that we are actively using by ourselves. But then we'll see when we start you know, migrating our customers to Backdrop, whatever we will need you know, during the process, we'll start helping you know, to port more Drupal modules.
Okay.
And I don't know, I'm not sure where else you know, I could be useful, but I really would like to take part, you know, to take some load off your shoulders too. Okay.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
if you will need any kind of, I don't know, I don't think that Backdrop needs you know, hosting, but for whatever side projects, if you will need some servers, we have a bunch of them. We own our hardware, you know, located, by the way, in Bay Area. Jen, I think you are from Bay Area, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't think so, but anyway, just so you know, as a hosting company, if we can help with anything, we'll be more than you know, glad to do so. So for now, I really need to go. See you guys. See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks. Right. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I need to point out to Alan that I'll do it on Gitter. That he shouldn't be stressing. This should be fun.
Yeah. It is fun.
It is, yes. That's what I'm saying.
When is the Drupal Corn?
Next week.
Next week. It's not coming up on the upcoming things anymore.
Yeah, when Gregory said it wasn't an event, that surprised me because
Yeah.
I think it was showing up, but
Yeah, I thought it was too. Maybe the date was wrong, or maybe our
Right.
view.
I don't know. I
I
haven't
don't know.
looked.
Maybe the upcoming events block. Okay, so the upcoming events block on the actual events page is actually showing the next events.
Drupal Corn was listed as October 17th.
Yeah, I just see the non-profit.
And that must have been my screw up.
So it's November.
Well, next Wednesday through Friday.
Okay. November 6th through 8th. That's the same time as the other one.
Oh, and you, in the meantime, you added the non-profit thing. Yeah.
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 That's why I noticed it was missing. I'm like, what? Okay. Ta-da, it's back. Okay, let's see. So for today, is there anything else that we need to be working on outreach wise that's not on our to-do list that we haven't talked about yet, or that we need to visit again? Anything particularly urgent?
If you want to add something and scratch it off, is we fixed the roadmap page.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So I went ahead because I think Jason commented on that issue, and he said that he sees merit in what I was saying. So I said,
Yep.
yeah, cool, that's enough. Doing
Yep.
it.
Nice.
All done.
So I don't want to, I want to mention a few things for people to think about that I think we should talk about later.
Okay.
I don't think we have time today. One, Jen started planning the birthday party for Oakland. If we want to do something more coordinated, we should do another blog post or something.
Yeah.
But there's two other things that I'm thinking in my head, and I'm not quite ready to make a commitment, although I'd like to for either or both. One of which is like trying to do a virtual camp where we have a whole day of sessions. I think that the VUG module, the virtual user group module, is sort of working. I know other groups have tried this. There are pros and cons to it. Anyways, I just like to think about it, not get into a big discussion today. Although we could start one online.
Yeah. So
The last, go ahead. Okay.
just as an idea, were you thinking something like the virtual user group, but going on for a whole day, something like that?
Sure. Something like where we have a schedule. So we've got 6 or 8 of those in a day. And
Yep.
it's, but the other thing that I've been thinking about, which is DrupalCon, is in Minneapolis. And if we shouldn't start thinking now about what we want to do next year at DrupalCon. We kind of put that off in Seattle. And I know at one point I mentioned to Nate, even to the point of like having a side event, like a mini camp, but our own thing in Minneapolis, like during the community summits and stuff.
Yeah.
So that people coming to DrupalCon could come a day early and do backdrop stuff.
I like it.
I think we've kind of maybe refrained from trying to do anything like that in the past, but this would be a good year just because we have local people on the ground to do logistics. So,
Yes. What days of the week is DrupalCon? 18 through 22.
I believe it's Monday and Tuesday are trainings and summits, and Wednesday and Thursday are sessions, and Friday is sprint, I believe.
Okay. We
So-
could do, Tim, do you have ideas for venue? If you want to start thinking about that, maybe we create a
Well-
meeting where we can talk about it, or a forum post or something.
Yeah, I've been, thinking about it in my head for a few months, and but just mulling the idea. I even brought it up to Nate back at Drupal Camp Twin Cities this year. But I have, we just haven't had the bandwidth to really talk about it yet. But it's getting to the point where if we're going to do it, we should start doing it.
Yeah.
And I
Also,
mean,
if you want to set up a separate meeting to talk about it too,
Yeah.
that might be a good idea.
Exactly. So sort of like this virtual camp versus this, I feel like maybe we've got the bandwidth to do one or the other right now. And so I'm kind of interested in just what people think might be the best use of our time.
I like all the ideas. I think
Well, I do
maybe
too.
what we should focus on first is the in-person event, because I think it's likely that the number of future DrupalCons where Backdrop is going to be relevant is going to be decreasing as time goes on, and people are starting to really feel the crunch of Drupal 7 end of life. So I feel like now is sort of the best time for that. And I think that if we can get that sorted sooner rather than later, that might still leave us some opportunity to do the virtual group, or maybe somebody who can't participate in the in-person one could help with the virtual one. But I would love to have our primary focus be on the in-person event in parallel with DrupalCon. I think that's a great idea.
I think that all makes sense. And we're doing the VUGs already that sort of serve that virtual audience. So one big, like when you talk about venue, I mean, I think the big obstacle I have right now is I have no idea
Budget.
what to plan for. I
Yeah.
mean, like we could figure out the budget later, but it's like, okay, are we looking for a venue for 200 people or for 20? And I don't know. And it really could be 200 if it were properly promoted at DrupalCon, right?
Yeah.
Not that it will be.
Is someone typing on their keyboard? Because when you talk, like yeah, it could be your mic.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it could be. It could be maybe your mic was moving. And then,
Oh.
yeah. But yes, it's happening when you. move, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways.
I don't know, Tim, either what to plan for. I think maybe maybe we just brainstorm some ideas about like maybe possible venues that could expand. Like if we found
Right.
University of Minneapolis or something could donate a room, be like, well, could you donate a room for 20 people or 200 people? And then we'd have a little flexibility. That might not be logistically possible, and in which case we would have to put a cap and say like we can't allow more than X people. But I think we should talk about it, see what options we have.
Okay. Let's keep the discussion going, but that's probably good for tonight.
Yep. Thank you. All right, well, it is 1 o'clock, so let's go ahead and wrap up this meeting and start the weekly development check-in meeting. I think, Tim, you might be able to just stop the stream. See you guys in a minute.